Greetings, YouTube. I debated whether or not before bed last night to talk about this. And I went back and forth and back and forth. And finally, I thought, I'm going to wait until Kabam acknowledges that they're doing something with this issue, and then we can discuss it because I didn't want to get ahead of myself. In the past, I've discussed things, and sometimes for good reason. People have said, Prof, you made that video too early. You should have waited until Kabam addressed it and then talked about it. I also have a general rule, which I've been very consistent about on my channel in the 4.5 years I've done this, where if there is something that can be perceived as a pro player bug, I definitely don't want to talk about it because not only will it be closed in an emergency maintenance, like say if there's a revive, you can spawn or spam, depending on your word choice for it, on a recurring path and say like Act 1. But also, I don't want to encourage anybody to try to take advantage of something that could end up backfiring. Kabam has a historic precedent of if you clear difficult content due to a bug, anything from using, say, Hela to do crazy damage in the Abyss or Labyrinth of Legends, you will have to go back to the beginning and potentially get banned either for a temporary time or was one of the craziest bug cases. And if you don't believe me that it happened, I don't blame you, but it really did. When the beta servers were first being introduced, a few people found out a way to essentially gift or transfer tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of units worth of items and crystal shards, etc., to themselves, to their alliance, and that did lead to permanent bans for a few people, as Kabam viewed that as straight up theft. And while I couldn't blame them exactly, not imagine, I couldn't blame them for that thought process. At the same time, it was certainly something that they didn't think about in time. So I'm not going to go into the full details of this. I am only covering it because the great Seaton, and I really do mean that non-sarcastically, I think he's great, and he's one of the reasons why I started my channel. He was part of my inspiration. But Seaton covered this in detail yesterday, and I view Seaton as I think everybody should be, even if he's not playing the game as much anymore, not creating as many videos, as the voice of MCFC. He always will be. He's like the national news of this community, whereas my channel is like a local news, if you're lucky, regional news, but it certainly is a smaller audience, which I'm still, trust me, very surprised and thankful for the audience I do have. Every day I wake up and I'm like, is that really the case? Wow. Anyhow, when he covered it, I'm like, well, I'm not breaking any news here. But needless to say, if you know something about the bug, you know that, let's say you used it with Guardian and he became immortal or basically unable to die. Well, you could, even if it took you a while, clear any content with that. And Kabam is going to, in their investigation, look at the accounts that might have used the bug to clear Act 7, to clear other content. If you know that what you're doing is not normal, chances are, unless it's like opening a crystal that has the wrong drop rates, which Kabam's been pretty consistent, and I'm kicking myself right now because I showed the wrong drop rates before I had class yesterday in my November daily card. Normally, if I see the wrong drop rates, I buy it right away because then you're going to get compensation for it. But I waited an hour and a half until my class was over, and then by the time I got back to my studio, the drop rates had been corrected. But kudos to those of you who bought them right away, and hopefully we'll get $100 worth of free Cavalier Nexus crystals, as they have in the past charged $100 for 10 along with other things, and this time they charged 50 for that for you Thronebreaker players, or I guess you'll get 5 if you're Cavalier as compensation. But anyhow, Kabam for the moment says, Summoners, we are turning off the new skip special 3 button while we work to address some issues that are being caused by the button. We hope to return the button as soon as we can. So they're saying this to also not panic the community. But again, because the forums are a place where we can't have nice things, right? Where if somebody finds out that somebody's doing something that they don't like, they'll just immediately report them. This is why I've made videos in the past on my channel that say we can't have nice things, because a lot of times those revives that we can earn as players to take back some of that power from Kabam to make us want to spend units on revives, they get shut down because people turn in the cheat. If you get something that helps you with, say, revives in the game, and hello, picture of my food. I turned my phone back on, and there it was. But yeah, if you get something that helps you, and it's within reason, like getting an extra revive. I'm not saying cheat, but if a revive is showing up on a path, I think personally, keep gaining the revive. Like that's something I'm comfortable with saying on my channel. You might view it as unethical because I'm encouraging them to do something that's not there, but if the revive is there, that's kind of where I draw the line. I'm good with taking advantage of that. But don't share it with people, and don't have those people run to the forums and say, Kabam, you got to do something. People are getting free revives. It's the end of the world. In this case, though, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And that's my takeaway. Because if you had a chance to clear content, and maybe this will be the first time that Kabam doesn't do anything, but historically speaking, Kabam always does something. Because they will not rest until they get their what they perceive to be money back in the form of making you clear content for real. So, what do you think should happen? Should nothing happen? Should these players who maybe did a Path of the Abyss or 7-3 or something, should they just get off scot-free? Or do you think that while you don't want there to be bans, or maybe you want there to be bans, I don't know, they should at least have to go back to where everybody else had to go back to? Let me know in the comments below. This was a crazy bug. Truly, every time a new month patch starts, we see something weird like this, but this is up there with something I'll talk about for years to come as far as a really unique and crazy MCOC bug.